So let me just pull up Facebook.
Ken's going to play some tunes for us.
I would if I had some stuff set up.
Oh, you could have your own little party in the corner.
That's right. Actually, I do a live stream every Sunday night at 9 o'clock on Twitch, yeah.
We could have a dance party on the porch and do hair and...
Yep. Yep.
Sky's the limit.
Yep.
I think we're live. You wanna see if it's there?
Sure, I'll look.
Yes.
Giddy up. The party has started. Ken, we really need that music.
I see that.
We need some good filler music as we all look at our screens and try to figure out what we're doing here. So I'm just going to share this real quick, and then so if anyone is done sharing, I thought it would be good. We should all go around and introduce ourselves. I know that we all know each other now, but I thought it would be even better to have you guys introduce yourselves. So before I do that, so basically what we're doing right now is we are having a State of Chicago Weddings live Q&A. So what I've done is I brought together some of the best people I know and some other vendors that I know that are not photography and videography, so they can kind of give their insight. You know, it's one thing to kind of navigate this, you know, for photo and video, but there's some other trickier things that come into play for DJ, florist, hair, officiant, whatever kind of vendor you are. And so really what we wanted to use this time for was to talk to couples, so couples that maybe had a wedding in 2020 and they had to reschedule, or even just, you know, people that are planning their 2021 wedding and thinking like, is this going to impact my own wedding? And then we also wanted to even open this up to other vendors. So if you're another vendor, a venue, a photographer, a hairstylist, a makeup artist, whatever it is, if you have any questions, you know, feel free to drop those in. So why don't we get started? Why don't we just kind of go around in our little Brady Bunch setup we have here, and whoever wants to jump in first can kind of introduce yourself.
I'm Ken with Amp Event Professionals, and I've been in business now for 16 years, and we do DJ, photo booth, and event lighting, and we're located in the northwest suburbs, but also service Chicago as well.
Hi, I'm Tanya Abraham with Hairdressing Couture and Makeup. I've been doing hair for 20 years. I've been in business for 4 years. I work as an independent contractor and do travel anywhere. Chicago, travel. I just love it.
It's like I don't know who should go first. Annie, why don't you go?
Okay, well, I'm you move my hello everybody. I'm Annie Kasak with Annie Occasion for Effie. We do flowers and gifts for all occasions besides weddings, but we love weddings and we miss them right now. So, yep, that's what we do.
And I'm Brad Hughes. I'm an officiant here in Chicagoland with Love Story Weddings, and we basically just feature your love story as the endearing heart of your wedding.
And lastly, I am Travis Heberling with Bella Tiamo. Actually, I know for a fact one of you, Ken, I know you've been doing some of the Twitch kind of DJ sessions and stuff. I'd love for you to kind of talk about that and what kind of inspired you to do that and how that's gone so far.
Sure, thank you. So some of the things that I've been working on have been music video DJ sets on Twitch every Sunday. And I do those 9 p.m. every Sunday on music video, twitch.com/musicvideodjs. And pretty much what it is, it's just I have a video DJ booth that I use for my weddings and that kind of thing to tell a story about the couple and all that. And then later on in the evening, we play music videos to the music that is banging on the dance floor and all that good stuff. But I had a really creative twist to it. I incorporate movie sing-alongs, celebrities dancing and singing and all that kind of stuff. So all that is incorporated in the music video itself. So it's not only entertaining from the ear, but it's also entertaining with the eyes as well. So I've been working on that. It's something I've always wanted to try. And so that's one thing I've been doing. And then also encompassed with that is working on marketing my business in a different way, just because we're in different times now than we were a couple months ago. So the Facebook marketing and all that stuff, we kind of got to tweak things a little bit. So I'm still trying to figure that out, but that's what I've been working on, on my end. So just trying to keep it fun and entertaining, and trying to get things done that I normally wouldn't have time for. So
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I feel like this has been a good time for a lot of us to just kind of look at our business, see like what we can change, what we can do to make it better. Because really, at the end of the day, it's about like us serving our couples, and we want our businesses to be like a well-oiled machine where we're everything's streamlined. Doesn't mean it's cookie cutter, but it means that we're streamlined. So every time we have a new couple, they're getting the same 110% service from us that any other couple would have, regardless if we're busy or not. And so I know, like for me, it's been a lot of just like, okay, what are some like workflows that we can have in place so we can make sure we're staying on top of being in touch with our couple and making sure that they're feeling like we're being a part of the process, and it's not just like, hey, you booked in 2019, here I am a day before your wedding, ready to talk to you. Like we want to make sure that we're being intentional to kind of check up with them, and I love that about this time too, is I've been able to be a little bit more intentional, like with trying to check in with our couples, make sure like hey, are you rescheduling, like what are your plans, and just trying to kind of figure things out with them. Whereas if this would have been a normal year, it'd be a lot harder to do that kind of stuff. So anyone else have anything cool they've been doing during this time they want to share?
I'll share.
Yeah.
So one of my brow teams was putting out for inspiration for pretty much hair and makeup people across the board. We went back in time to 1910, and we were just looking at images and makeup from then. So we went decade to decade. So we're on I'm at 1950 right now. So we're gonna put a little collection, quarantine era collection of just hair and makeup throughout the eras. So we're trying to put that together, and then I need to work on so salons and we're not allowed to blow dry right now. So I need to put together a video, a tutorial of blow drying hair that will last a couple days for most people, just because they can't really do blow dries right now. So I need to work on that personally, but it just it's interesting to play around with the camera and lighting. This is something I never really got into. It's always been more about hair and makeup than anything else, but definitely working and using your phone and your makeup light, different things like filters and things like that. But that's what I've been truly working on, other than the brides and the chatting and talking and all that fun stuff. But I think overall it kind of puts everything in perspective, more of a creative teaching perspective than just always doing the same routine of the brides. But that's me personally.
yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, it's you're talking about talking with the brides. For a while I almost felt like that was a part-time job in itself. Especially when we found out about the 5-phase process. It's a lot of them were kind of on the fence, and then once we found that out, it was okay, we gotta figure out something. So what about you, Brad? Anything crazy going on in your world?
Nothing super crazy. I would say that we've been, doing the micro weddings because those couples who did postpone to 2021, I just offered, to do a smaller ceremony on their original day in the hopes to try to bring some closure and make it more special and allow them the opportunity to use their marriage license without having to go and get another one. So ultimately next year they'll be doing a vow renewal, but it'll be a big one in a, normal size wedding, Lord willing, and ultimately give them the opportunity to celebrate as they had intended to, non-socially distanced.
Yeah.
We'll see. But like Ken said, just being creative as it relates to marketing and just trying to help couples understand what I mean when I say that we feature their love story as the heart of their wedding. Because sometimes they're really not certain what I mean. So I just put together kind of a fun little creative 60-second explainer, animation video that I think helps them to grasp it so that we can dive right into what an unforgettable ceremony really looks like.
Awesome.
That was fun.
Awesome. So I have a question actually, kind of pertaining to rescheduling. And just, it was kind of a question of just like, okay, my wedding is in August. Should I reschedule? Like, what questions like should I ask my vendor? So I think all of us have dealing with the bride that needed to reschedule. So I would kind of love to just hear like how you guys approach that. Like, did you book a new date with them? Did you only give them certain dates they could pick? Like, how did you kind of approach that process with the bride when she came due and was maybe even freaking out a little bit and was like, I got to change my wedding date. What do I do? How did you guys handle that?
I just encourage them that if they wanted to keep their dream team together, it's really best to let the venue dictate what dates are available for them in 2021, for instance, and then just keep in touch with us to let us know the options for us to, give feedback as to our availability. And the way that I handle it is, if I'm available, let's do it. Let's lock it in. There's no additional charges. There's no penalties or rescheduling fees, because we're just in a funky season, and there's no way that they can, know that this was coming or be in control of it. So any grace that we can offer to try to help ease the transition and the pain of having to try to reschedule a day that you've been planning for a year or two is really what my heart is. And I think that being able to do a smaller micro wedding on your original day only just kind of wraps that all together and puts a tidy bow on it, and hopefully, calms the heart a little bit.
So to follow what Brad had said, I actually wrote a blog on how to create synergy with all of your vendors for postponing your wedding. And first and foremost, any brides or grooms out there that are watching, I'm so sorry you have to deal with this. I know you've been planning this for a year and a half, 2 years, sometimes even longer, and we feel for you on this. And it's really important to have vendors that are going to take care of you and really just do things for you, the client, that are going to go above and beyond. And one of the things that we've been doing is I've been telling my clients to go to Google, create a Google sheet, and then reach out to your venue and find out the dates that they have available. Put the dates available across the top, and then your vendors that you really want to work with and continue to work with, you sign contracts with, put them on the left-hand side of your Google sheet, and then send it to all your vendors and say, here, this is what I need you to do. Just type in a yes or no in the box if you're available for these dates. That way you are not being the middle person and dealing with even more stress by going back and forth with all your vendors and asking them if they're if they're available for this date or that date or whatever. Your venue dictates it, and then from there you give them, you give your vendors 5 dates to work with, and they can put in yes or no. So that's really big. Now, in addition to that, I can't stress enough that if you're having a July wedding, I personally believe you need to reschedule. If you haven't done so already, sooner the better, because as we have our 2020 dates that are being rescheduled to 2021. We also have 2021 clients reaching out to us to book 2021 dates. So now next year, 2021 is filling up twice as fast. So anybody that's getting married in 2021 originally, you also need to reach out to the vendors you want to work with as quickly as possible, because once those dates are full, they're full. Some other things to keep in mind for the 2021 clients, if there's any way possible for you to save a little bit of money with your venue, or just feel like it's in your heart that you want to have your wedding on maybe a Sunday instead of a Saturday, that helps out all your wedding vendors. I can't stress that enough, and it helps out your venue too. So if it's an option for you to have a Sunday wedding, you can always ask the venue if you get some kind of a discount or something along those lines to save a little bit of money. And I would think that some of your vendors would also be willing to do the same thing, just to keep a Saturday open, because keep in mind that 2020, our weddings are gone. So our money is not coming in anymore for those dates, and obviously we're getting deposits for next year and all those things. But now the 2021 Saturdays are full, and that's where we make our bread and butter. So if it's an option to save some money, or if you've thought about this at all, it's a great idea to have your wedding on a Sunday or maybe even a Friday. Thursdays I've even seen. So just things to think about there too, from from a vendor standpoint. So those are my tips on how to make things move things along quickly and less stressful for you. And again, I'm really sorry any brides and grooms out there for what you're going through right now. It's very, very tough. So.
Yeah, that's good, Ken. And I think we align kind of the same. And, it's funny, we didn't really discuss this stuff before the chat, so I was like, I hope they don't, say something absurd like, oh, I'm not rescheduling any of my weddings. I'm like, they're just out of luck. I'm keeping everything. I'm glad that we all kind of align. For us, what I kind of saw, when it started kind of flowing in is, a lot of couples, were just kind of we're canceling our wedding, and kind of my advice, especially to vendors, but even for the couples themselves, just be kind of clear on what that means. So when I had two come in on the same day and they're both like, hey, we're canceling our wedding. I was like, well, what do you mean cancel? You guys are just not going to ever get married? Or, I was like, what does that mean? And, just doing that little bit of diving, I found out, oh, they're going to do a small ceremony this year. And then it kind of became a conversation of well, maybe we do still want to capture that. And, maybe we do still want to have some flowers, and, I'm still going to need to get my hair done, and we still need an officiant, and we need someone to run the audio for the ceremony. So, especially for the vendors, it doesn't hurt to just really kind of don't be afraid, ask a follow-up question of just because they say cancel doesn't mean that it's actually canceled. It just means they're not doing what they originally had planned, and you might need to kind of, see what that is. And, for us, what it's been is kind of a mix of two things. It's either, they're just doing a micro wedding, and a lot of times it has been on weekdays, which is super helpful for us because we do have some weekend weddings where we just don't know, and we don't want to give up that date because just in case it works out, we still want to have it booked with the previous couple, but at the same time, we want to take whatever we can get this year. There's not a lot of work going around just because of all these big events being canceled. And so I think that's really important to do that. And for us, what we've done is we tried getting ahead of it right away. Like I had mentioned, we had a blog post and everything. So for the most part, most of our couples have kind of kept us in the process. And I think that's really important as a vendor is, you need to be ahead of it before they get to you almost. You should have almost sent an email before they ever sent an email, just so they're thinking of you in the process, because you don't want to end up in a situation where they're like, well, the venue has one date for us. What do we do? And and it was well, I can't do that date or something. You want to make sure you're on the process with them. And for the couples, I think it's always good to kind of push the venue too. And it might mean that you might have to give up a Saturday date, but more than likely these venues have tons of Fridays and Sundays, at their disposal. Maybe not soon, because a lot of people are taking those dates too, but it doesn't hurt to ask them, and then giving your other vendors a bunch of options, because we're already booking 2021. I'm sure for you guys it's the same, where I already had some 2021 stuff booked last year. They had already taken those dates. So really, the faster you can kind of act, the better. And like I was saying with the micro weddings, it doesn't hurt to do it. I've done 3 so far, and they've actually probably been some of the most memorable weddings I've been a part of. There's just something really emotional about that small get together of people. And it's if you want to do the big party, you still can. Just save it for next year then. So, if anyone else wants anything else they want to chip in, I'm going to look here if we got any other questions.
I just want to say, well said. It was great what you contributed and what you were talking about. And I've been doing micro weddings. I did 2 on Saturday. One had 12 people. The other one had 18. One has postponed until next year, and another one is postponing until September, but they're not 100% sure about that one. So, but I just reiterate to all my clients, I'm here for you. I will make it happen. Do not worry, because I know your plate is full with so many other things. One of my floral clients, she had a hair and makeup person who said, sorry, we're booked for your new date. Good luck. And wouldn't return any of her money. So she's a little upset with them. She paid in full because originally she was getting married on June 6th. And this was, I think, beginning of May, and she said, nope, we're booked, we can't help you, and we are not giving you any of your money back. So that was, I felt bad for her, especially because I've been a planner before and helping with it. I was just glad that I wasn't a planner in the situation and how to approach other vendors who are not willing to work or do something. I mean, just
kind of blew my mind to hear that. But again, we're just trying to do the best we can with everybody and reassure them that we're here for you and do whatever we can. That's the best thing. I did have somebody approach me a couple weeks ago, and I said, well, we're not getting married to 2021. I go, yeah, but I'm already halfway booked. Do the last minute, as Ken said, hey, we got all our Saturdays almost all gone, so you got to keep that in mind that now everybody from this year is now pushing to next year. So it's got to be cognizant of the fact that we might be booked, because I'm honoring all my current clients, and they come first serve. So if they book out a date, might be full. So hopefully people will keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah.
And I love what Brad said about vow renewals. Hey, get married this year and have a vow renewal next year. I'm like, I love that. I think I'm going to steal that.
Yeah.
That's what my sister-in-law is doing, actually. She's getting married on October 1st this year, and 1 year anniversary, they're doing a vow renewal. So.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't think there's any harm in that. It doesn't make the wedding less important. If anything, it'll be more important, I think. You'll look back on it and you'll really remember it, because you went through this craziness, and even though this craziness is still going on, you still got married, you still got brought together some of your, maybe not as many, but still some of your closest friends and family, and you got through it. And I think it'll be just as impactful as there's just something that maybe won't be as special if it's just like, oh, we just moved our date. It's not as impactful. We have a question here from Lucy. What are your thoughts on the client canceling their wedding and want their deposit back, even if you offer an alternative available date, not in their month? So I'll start on this. I know a lot of people have kind of different thoughts on retainers and stuff. And I think it kind of matters. It's different for different venues and vendors and stuff, I think, too. But at the end of the day, I don't know if Lucy's it kind of sounds like maybe a question from a vendor, I'm not sure. But it all comes down to your contract at the end of the day. Now, it doesn't mean you have to hold hard and fast to your contract. I mean, this is something that a lot of us did not plan for. So if you want to be lenient, you're more than welcome to. But at the end of the day, we do have to keep in mind that we still have to operate a business. There's still expenses with the business. There's still time you dedicated to that couple. And so say, for example, the couple comes to you and they're like, hey, we're doing this date, and they don't give you any options, and you would reach out to them beforehand. They didn't really kind of communicate with you at all before the wedding, and they're just kind of throwing out a date, and you're not available. You have to kind of come back to what your contract says. So does your contract say, does it say that you hold on to your retainer? Because if it does, you can hold on to that regardless. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. We have a few where we're running into a few little issues, and they're aware that if they decide to forfeit everything, we keep the retainer, because there's just certain expenses that happen that we can't just start giving out money that's not there anymore. We have a CRM, so they can do payments online, and when they do the payment online, we get hit with a fee. If they booked last year, we've already paid taxes on that money, so there's that. There's the overhead that comes into it. For example, say they booked a 2-photo, 2-video package. I got to compensate my second shoot or something, because they held that date for me, and they're not going to be able to get that date back regardless if the wedding exists or not. So I don't think there's anything wrong with holding your retainer, but you should work with them as much as you can. I know for myself, if for whatever reason they're not going to go through with their original plans, we do hold the retainer, but I'll work with them with maybe just refunding the rest. If we're not, in my mind, I want to help out people as much as we can, and so if we're just not going to be shooting anything for them, it's kind of a case by case, but I would maybe be okay with forfeiting the rest of the amount they owed. Now, another alternative, mattering what kind of vendor you are, I know in our contract we do have something that states if for any reason I cannot be there, that we would find a substitute. And I have people that I highly trust. This wouldn't be just anyone off of Craigslist. I would not just go on Craigslist and be like, hey, I need a photographer to fill in for me. But it doesn't hurt to to kind of have a team ready to go for this coming up year, because there might be a lot of these issues where there's going to be overlapping, and if that's in your contract, you're more than welcome to do that, and you could figure it out with the client, like if maybe you want to give them a slight price cut because you're not there's nothing wrong with that. But at the end of the day, just kind of wrap it up, you got to come back to your contract and you have to do what you feel is comfortable. For us, it's been keeping the retainer, but then kind of doing case by case if we need to refund a certain amount to them, or we need to find another shooter for that day. What about anyone else? I know it's a little bit different with some of the other things that you guys do, but what have you guys done so far as retainers and deposits and returning things?
Yeah, as far as talent goes and assigning talent, what we've been doing, we have bio videos created. So if one of the DJs is not available that the client had originally booked, we'll go ahead and send them the DJ's bios that are available for that talent, so they're able to check that out and pick their DJ from there. And all my DJs are trained by me personally, and they all have excellent bio videos. So far we haven't had any pushback on that. But when you assemble a great team, you don't really have to worry about that so much. And then as far as the retainer goes, we have been asking our clients if they if they have the money and they would like to, they can make a $500 progress payment, is what we're calling it, towards their new date. So if they decide to postpone to 2021, it's not a requirement, but if they would like to, they can always do a progress payment to put towards their final balance. This is not an additional fee. This is just an additional payment, we'll call it. So, but that's what we've been doing on our end.
That's a wise way to do that, Ken. I would just say that for us, we are holding on to retainers or deposits, especially in cases where if I'm not available to do their ceremony and they maybe they're getting married in California or something specialized rather than here in Chicagoland, then we've got to get creative in terms of serving them, and if there's no way to do that, then they just forego their balance and they move forward from there. But if I'm available, let's do it. I'm 100%. Let's not only do that, but let's also do the micro wedding at no additional charge. As it relates to payments moving forward for postponements, I don't charge any penalties or fees like I mentioned before, but I do sometimes ask if they would be willing to stay on their original payment schedule that we agreed to, just to be able to be in business in 2021 and be able to serve them. And they've got to weigh out, ultimately what is going to be the best thing. And if they can swing it, amazing. If they can't, that's okay too, because it all balances out in the end. And then we're not, charging anything extra above and beyond what we had originally agreed.
Cool. And it looks like Lucy was a venue. So yeah, I think it kind of applies the same. It's like, especially a venue. If they've gotten to the point of like, I don't know if you do in-house cooking or it's catering, but for example, if you do in-house food and they've come in, done food testings, done wine testings, there's an expense there. Like, as a couple, you can't expect to get all that back. And like you were kind of saying, Brad, there's ways to be creative. I'm sure if you, if your vendor is like, I'm not available that date, that money's mine, then I don't know. Like, I don't feel like most people are like that are kind of in this industry, and I'm sure they'd be willing to work with you. Like, even with me, if like, say for some reason they move to some date in 2021, I'm not available, they don't want anyone else that's part of our team, it's like, well, then let's figure out some way we can use that credit of your retainer, because I look at it like it's credit. It's money sitting there in the account that's for you to use for our services. So it's like, well, if you don't want that, like maybe we go do like a resave the date shoot, or we do we do whatever it is, like a resave the date video, or we they do the micro wedding. And there's a lot of creative ways to kind of use that value that's there, and it doesn't have to be a thing of like, well, now I'm just out of $1,500 or $2,000 or $500 or whatever it is. I'm sure your vendor would be willing to figure out something, even if they can't shoot your wedding in 2021. So awesome. Let me see what else we got here. I'm trying to monitor like 3 different ones, so I'm just making sure if anything has come through. kind of related to that, I would love to kind of talk about the whole rescheduling in itself. So like, I know you guys have touched on it a little bit, but like I know for ourselves, we're not necessarily doing a rescheduling fee, but when it comes to kind of like deliverables, we do have to charge them like the 2021 rate. So, you know, for them to move their wedding, we're just straight up taking their package that they had in 2020, the price they were paying, we're moving it into a new date, and then just like kind of what you said, Brad, we're trying to keep that original payment plan. I mean, we're a little flexible with that. We know some people are losing their jobs and stuff, so it's like, you know, if they need an extra few months, that's fine. But when it comes to like the deliverable stuff, so this could be like an album, prints, raw footage, all that kind of stuff, we have to kind of move it to a 2021 pricing, because it's not even so much like, you know, that we necessarily want to do that, but it's like the price of goods and services go up. So I don't know, are you guys doing anything like that? Are you doing a rescheduling fee? Are you just doing like piece by piece? You might change the pricing for stuff. How are you guys handling pricing of everything?
Right now, we are not doing any rescheduling fee or anything like that. And as far as pricing goes, our pricing is remaining the same into 2021 at this point. So, you know, we get it that there's a lot of stuff going on right now, and you know, like you said about the jobs and that kind of thing too. So we're trying to accommodate as many couples as possible, and all events for that matter. So that's where we're at with that.
I'm the same.
Awesome.
I'm about the same too, as from 2020 to 2021. Just with the hair and makeup, it's just a lot more guidelines and sanitation and mask and, you know, shield, and that's it's just going to take a little bit longer. But me personally, am not going to raise my prices in 2021. You know, it's giving everyone grace moving forward, and hopefully we move forward safely and healthy versus, you know, troubled. You know.
I'm going to be honoring my price still with my 2019 or 2020 brides into 2021. There might be a slight difference, but I'm not going to charge my client for that. New clients, though, there might, and really in the floral industry, it's not huge price increases, but this industry has been hurt a lot. To see millions of tons of flowers being dumped by the wayside in many, many countries. It's just been heartbreaking to see how much it is. But freight has gone up this year. It's starting to continue to go up, and they'll go up next year. So it might go up a little bit, not a huge price difference. You know, I work with a lot of budget clients, so I try really hard. I customize every single proposal that I have with a client. So I work within their vision and within their price point. So I choose the type of flowers that I think that they would like and that would go within their price. So I know people ask me on Wedding Wire to create packages, and I just might and say, here you go. This is it. There's no changes. That's the price, and be done with it. I just feel like what deserves to be the very best it is, no matter what the price. That's kind of how I've been rolling, and hopefully prices won't go up too much, but if it does, it's a small variance between now and next year. So.
Yeah. I bet like those flowers all being thrown out would, like, you probably feel how I would feel if people were just like throwing out camera equipment or something. Like it would just like break my heart. You know, like, oh, all this wasted equipment. I'm sure it's like the same thing. So yeah, you know, I think a lot of it comes back to, you know, like I was saying, like we might have to adjust some pricing, but at the end of the day, you know, sometimes it's better to take a little bit of a loss in your business and just make your couple feel like extremely like loved and like you gave them so much grace, because that's going to pay off more than just maybe making a few extra $10 here, $50 here, you know, like, because if they had if they were just like constantly watching as they kind of got nickeled and dimed because they had to move their wedding to 2021, which they didn't want in the first place, you know, they might not be so keen to refer you. But if you gave them so much grace, you know, they're gonna tell everyone that that they know that's getting married. And that's, I think it's kind of the same for you guys, but I know for our business, it's mostly referral. It's, knowing people like you, this group right here, but then, just couples doing their weddings, and someone sees us there and they want our information, or they see the film and they fall in love with it just as much as the couple did, and they reach out to us. So that client relationship is really important. And so I think, that's something you got to be careful, and you got to make sure that you're still taking care of that, and that you don't ruin it just because you want to make a few extra bucks here and there. So awesome. Well, just as like a reminder, I think we might have a question. Let me see. How have you had anyone threaten to destroy your rating online if you don't refund all their money? This is actually, I didn't even think of this question. I didn't even think of that as like a thing, but I guess that is what people do nowadays, right? So they don't show up outside your building with signs. They go on your storefronts online and tear it apart. So anyone have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I have an actual situation like that. If you go on to Wedding Wire and take a look at my reviews, there's one unhappy bride there, and you're right, Travis. It's really kind of a decision that you make based on the scenario and the situation at the time as to whether or not there's going to be a reason that a refund would be made. And in this particular case, it just didn't work for that. And there was it was really more from a standpoint of ability, not willingness, and just a request for patience. And there wasn't any on their part. And all of a sudden, here's a review, that is just, indicating that you're the worst person in the world. And so that, however untrue that may be, still needs a response in kind that allows for people to understand the circumstance, and we did the best that we could with that. But in the grand scheme of things, these really are unprecedented times, and I think that we need to give reciprocal grace, and wherever there's an opportunity to be able to say, yeah, if you need another month, or if you need, this kind of a break, I'm thinking about offering discounts, if they want an officiant who has a lisp, or maybe cross-eyes or something like that, maybe there's a way to discount it. And I'm joking, but that's just, something that is different for everybody. And to your point, Annie, I just have to kind of like customize things with every consultation that I do to their situation. Budgets don't necessarily dictate value, but in the grand scheme of things, you still want to try to be able to get creative and make things work as absolutely best we can, both on the front end and on the back end, and see how we might be able to serve them in ways that bring some peace. But there's also some patience that's needed along the way to give everybody that little, extra grace that's required to make sure that we're being sensitive to each other's challenges, during this pandemic.
I think also, I agree with Brad, and I also think it's a give and take on both sides. So, I mean, you really try to do as much as you can, and, I did the same thing with the credit. I had one client that said, you know what, we're going to cancel altogether. We're having our event in Arizona now. Didn't invite me to go to Arizona, which I'm okay with. It's fine. But, she's they're having their wedding in Arizona, and she didn't even ask for, her deposit back or anything. She totally understood. And I reached back out to her and said, hey, look, just so you know, if you have anything and you decide to have a celebration next year in Chicago, in the Chicagoland area, I will use that $500 credit as the retainer that they had. We'll put that towards a credit towards her new party. And she wasn't even expecting that. So if you're able to do those give and take things, and maybe I've just been really fortunate with my clients so far, but so far everybody's postponed except for a select few that have canceled, and that was one of them. So, and the other ones were great as well to work with. So. And they also understand we're small businesses too. That's something else I want to touch on too. So, got to keep the dream alive. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
Looks like we got to follow up. I had asked them if they had left any reviews yet, and they said, "Oh man, this is pretty rough." They had their entire family write one, in between the hour of them asking for a refund and my response, I ended up giving them one in exchange for removing them all. They escorted me. They removed all but one, who left a 4-star instead of 5-star, and ruined my perfect record. Well, I mean, I don't know. Like, I guess it's like, well, at least they removed it and they were honest about that. But yeah, that's not fun. And you know what I would even say, mattering on where it's at. I mean, if it's like Yelp, I don't even pay attention to Yelp anymore. I don't know if you guys do, but if it's like Google, I feel Google is pretty good about, like, if you report it, and then maybe, if I don't know if you have anyone else that works with you, but have them report it, maybe have some of your friends and family report it too. They're usually pretty good about removing stuff, especially, you know, if they're talking about things like the deposit and you haven't even actually like done a service or anything yet, and it's in your contract. Like, I don't see any reason why they would leave that review up there if it's not an honest review of your true services. But yeah, that's crazy. I will also say too, it might not be such a bad thing you don't have a perfect review. I know for myself, when I look at services, if they have a 5 out of 5, I sometimes actually will look at the next one and see, like, okay, who has like a 4.8 out of 5? Let me maybe look at them, because there's something about like perfection that can feel a little dishonest sometimes. So maybe in a weird way, maybe that 4 out of 5 star will actually end up helping your business. Who knows?
Wait a minute, not all the time. I've got all 5 stars across the board everywhere. Wait a minute. I'm hoping people will be. See, some people don't give me a review. Like, I didn't get, this year for Wedding Wire, I didn't get nominated for Best Couples Choice. I'm actually really disappointed. I've been having to beg for reviews. I even tried to bribe clients. I ordered like a contact. I had 2 years. I was like, oh. But, no, yeah, I have 5 stars. I embrace it. I like it. I'm not perfect. Nobody is. But somebody from my shop did give me 4 stars on Google, and I was really kind of bummed by it. I'm like, oh, great shop. Really? What can I do to improve, to increase your experience? I don't know. So, anyhow, it just bummed me out. Only having one.
I know the feeling, Annie. I know the feeling.
Right?
Let's see. I think we got another review here. Let me, it's like cut off. Let me scroll back up so I can see it. And just a reminder, anyone that's watching, feel free to drop in any other questions you have. And I think I called it a review. I meant question. I don't know what. I think I said review. We have reviews on the mind. Yeah, here we go. Wendy says, let's see, I haven't even read this, so I'm just reading it now, so hopefully it's something we know the answer to. What are your thoughts when it comes to companies that swoop in and offer highly discounted rates for couples that cancel on vendors that can't accommodate new postponed dates? I have witnessed vendors only advertising to clients in these predicaments and almost felt like they were monopolizing on it. Oh, so like, I think what Wendy means is like, you know, there's people going into like Facebook groups and stuff, and they're basically marketing for the bride and grooms that don't have their photographer anymore, or don't have their DJ anymore, and they're like, you know, they're basically trying to swoop in there and be like, hey, if your photographer is not available, I'm available, I'll take it, and I'll do it for like half the rate. What are your guys' thoughts on other vendors doing that?
Number one, you get what you pay for. Number one. Also, in addition to that, if I had an event booked and I wasn't able to accommodate, I would really try my best to really make it happen. And that comes back to the Google Sheets and, you know, working with the venues and finding out what dates they have available. But in addition to that, also, you know, if they go another way and they have us booked, we keep the retainer, and you know, we're able to do another wedding that weekend now. So I'm okay with that, you know. So maybe they weren't your client to begin with, you know. So that's how I look at it. So go ahead, Annie.
Well said, Ken. I completely agree with everything you said. I mean, I try to accommodate clients with their price ranges, but I know that I'm not the cheapest florist out there, and I don't want to be. As a matter of fact, somebody just messaged me, and I said, you know, we custom design flowers for you within your budget. She goes, well, I don't know, I don't want to spend a lot of money. You know, I'm in Joliet. And I said, well, why don't you give me a chance to talk to you? She goes, we'll think about it. And I'm like, that's okay. You can think about it all you want. Call me now. Because if you don't want to give me a chance to help you, I'm okay with that because there's other people who are going to let me do that. And when I've done planning and coordination, a lot of people who are new in that field like to start out really cheap, like, oh, I'll coordinate your wedding for like $200. I'm like, okay, you can go ahead and do it again. You get what you pay for, but also it's like you have to understand, you know how much time, just as a day of usually on site for 12 hours, you put in about 20 to 30 hours prior to that to getting all the vendors and everything. Now that $200 change, divide that up by 40 hours. Think about how much you're making. And a lot of times, and I've seen some new people in the industry, they go, oh, I'm looking at it, and I go, exactly. That kind of stops some people when they think about how much time they put in to helping clients. So that's why I'm kind of shying away from coordination and planning. And I've done it for a long time. I was in professional theater as a stage manager for 6 years, have a degree in theater, loved it. Got to this area, loved doing weddings. I still do. But now with this COVID, all the things that are going on with multiple vendors and getting them together and date switching and venues, it's just too crazy. And I would just love to now going forward. I'm just focusing on flowers, my flowers and gifts. It makes me happy. And I love seeing happy people. So I had 2 very, very happy brides this weekend on Saturday. One already gave me a lovely review on that. And it was such a pleasure to work with them, and they were great families. And it almost makes me cry sometimes when I don't see them anymore. I'm actually now telling all my bridal clients that they can use me as their forever florist. So I offer them 20% off of flowers and gifts forever. For as long as I'm in business. Hopefully not longer than it's been a little rough this year, but yeah, I'm offering that because I see people more often.
I agree, Annie. I love to stay in touch with my couples. I'm friends with over 200 couples that I've married on Facebook, and I give them vacation packages, discounted vacation packages for the rest of their life. So if they want to save, $1,500 to $2,400 on a 5-star resort over 50 destinations worldwide, I just hand them out like candy, and that keeps us in touch because they want to take advantage of that.
Yeah, and I mean, just to kind of add to that, if you're like a couple, like really at the end of the day, like if that vendor is like really important to you, like you're gonna have to try to have a little bit of give and take, so hopefully that would never become like the thing where you're trying to find someone else now to fill in that date because hopefully you were able to figure out something. But if for some reason it doesn't work, I don't necessarily think it's wrong if another vendor kind of books after, but it's kind of like what everyone else is saying, like do your research just like you did the first person you booked, and you should know right away it's probably a red flag if like it's someone posting in like a Facebook group and they're offering like $500 for photo and video, or like $100 for like officiating all day or something. Like there's something kind of fishy about that. Like just like anything, like you wouldn't expect to go to the Tesla dealership and they're like, hey, we're handing these out because you canceled your other car, we're handing these out for $5,000. Like that's never going to happen unless I don't know, like I don't think that's even a thing that would ever happen. So it's just like anything. It's like there's realistic pricing for stuff, and chances are if it's people kind of spamming in these groups that that they're offering services and they're trying to kind of monopolize off of the fact that you had to cancel with the person you had, that's probably not the right person to go with. You should probably do your research, go on Google or Instagram or whatever, and just kind of start over like you did before when you found your first vendor. So, but really before even that, it's a lot of just trying to work with them and try to figure out something and a date that works with everyone. So
you're right, Travis. Some people put the fishy in officiant. So,
did you come up with that?
Just off the cuff.
There's some music.
I just want to add in on the retainer of just like other events. I mean, there's always going to be your anniversary parties. There's always, like, for me, there's a lot of pregnancy shoots, photo shoots like that, you know, just to kind of, if you're not available, they have to go that other route to save that retainer for a later event, like another life event, you know, of just moving that credit towards a different event, you know, anniversaries, photography, family shoots, or, you know, pregnancy shoots and things like that, you know, just, you know, just so, you know, keeping small businesses alive and thriving. So
yeah. What did they say? I run the Bride Chicagoland site, and unfortunately have vendors trying to advertise and undercut in this area. Example, I will replace your photographer at a half price if you won't move, if they won't move your date. It's been very sombering to see. Yeah, I don't know if that's like an online thing or a Facebook group, but if there's a lot of people doing that, I would just delete them from the group. Like, you know, like, you don't need that kind of people in there anyhow. Like, I actually, I think most of you are in it, but I have like a small, you know, group that I started for like business owners in the Midwest, and it's small, but I'm not really looking to grow it because I don't want that kind of stuff in there, and I'm very clear about it. So anytime someone has like wanted to join and I could tell right away that, you know, they're kind of fishy, then I just don't even let them join. Or if they join and I see them spam something right away, I just immediately get rid of them from the group. You know, it's just like we don't want that kind of stuff, because it doesn't even do anything. Like, that's the funny thing about these Facebook groups when you see people doing that. They never get any likes. There's no one commenting on it. There's probably no one DMing them. Like, they're just kind of a waste of space, you know? So I don't think they really do anything to help, and I don't see anything wrong with you just getting them out of your group, you know, if you don't want them in there. Let me do one last check if we got any other questions. I think we'll kind of start wrapping up here. That way I can honor your guys' free time and everything. So why don't we, if anyone has any kind of like last kind of parting words, any kind of encouragement, any like ideas for couples, I would just kind of love to hear kind of some, you know, finishing words that you guys might have for the couples and the vendors out there.
I would just echo what Ken said, that our heart truly goes out to the couples that are having to really, you know, take a hard right turn from their original plan to do the wedding of their dreams. And all hope is not lost. First of all, there are millions of couples across the globe that are struggling with the very same thing. And you have vendors that are very willing to try to make something happen, either now in a micro way or later in a macro way, to really make the day or days of your dreams. And so really lean on us and allow us to be able to give you some of those ideas per your circumstance that will really make it special, so that you really don't have to worry about you know, trying to recreate everything, but try to keep as much of your dream team as possible and not lose deposits, and really be as whole as you can be moving into a better season. And that's what we really all are hopeful and prayerful for. So let's work together, and I'm sure that we're really going to be able to reach a bullseye that, you know, for your day that you're really going to love.
Yeah, thank you, Brad. Yeah, I totally echo that, obviously. And in addition to that, too, as a DJ, I watch videos and stuff. I watch movies, and then you see the partying and the weddings and all those kinds of things that happen in the movies. And it's like, oh man, I can't wait to do that again, right? But one thing I keep telling myself is just think, brides, grooms, everybody out there, vendors as well, just think of how much people are going to want to party when this is over, right? I mean, people are going to be ready to just let loose and just go crazy. So we're going to go nuts. Weddings are going to be even better versus having something, you know, next month where, you know, it most likely won't be the same as next year. So keep your chin up. You know, we're all in this together, and really just focus on what's to come. And think about it this way too: if you have any things that you wanted to maybe change on your wedding or add, or you were like, oh, I don't know, I don't really have enough money for this right now. Think about all the things you can add later on. And if you have those vendors too, you can always reach out to them as well and see if they're able to, do those things, like provide uplighting for you as an example, or provide a highlight video from a videographer, those kinds of things. So always doesn't hurt to ask those kinds of things too. So just keep that in mind, but keep your head up, keep your chin up, and that goes for vendors and couples and everybody. So
only happy tears. That's all we want.
You know it. That's the way it goes. That's the way it goes. The love stories help for that too, by the way.
They sure do.
Everybody needs to have patience, whether you're a bride and a groom or a vendor. Patience and communication. We talk to one another. It makes it so much better. It just does. And I think that's all you need to do is have patience. Almost all the time. I almost have to leave in a few. I had to finish making something pretty. So. Does it look happy? I'm hoping.
That's amazing.
It's going to make somebody get some happy tears, I think. So
Yeah, just like we were talking about.
Nailed it.
I do what I do. I love doing floral, and I love sharing it with other people. It kind of makes me happy just doing it. So, kind of my jam. So,
Yeah, it's got to be therapeutic too.
Sometimes it's a mood. If I'm crabby, which it does happen, I'm the temperamental artist. I'm like, I don't want to work today. I'm not doing it because I've done things 3 or 4 times. Like, I don't like it, or it needs another flower, or I need to do this. I've taken an arrangement apart 3 times once. It took me an hour and a half. I'm like, I think I'm done for the day. I get like that. Doesn't happen often, but.
I wouldn't be able to put it together once, so you're way ahead of me.
Well, it's good. You've been doing it for 26 years. Thanks, Brad.
Yeah, that'll help for sure. I think I have that many years left. I don't know. We'll see. I'll work on it.
Travis, thank you for getting everybody together like this, and it's been so great meeting all of you, and I will be emailing you because I'd like to talk to you about, more about what you think, and because of me making those small wedding packages too, if you're interested in joining in part of that and see what we can do together.
Sure.
Help build, because I think micro weddings are going to be the thing for a while, even into year. So
unfortunately, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we'll make them work. So so before we kind of end here, I would love for everyone to just kind of share where people can find you. I know we were running into a little bit of audio issues at the beginning, so I don't know how much actually came through and what didn't come through. And I think we have it recorded, which is good. But just in case, I would love for everyone to just go around and kind of share, once again, just where people can find you, website, Instagram, Facebook, whatever you're kind of most on. I would love to just kind of have everyone share that.
Sure, happy to. You can catch me at lovestoryweddings.org. You basically just type in Love Story Weddings and Reverend Brad Hughes will pop up, and you'll find me on Wedding Wire, The Knot, the website, a bunch of different places, but happy to just chat and see what the possibilities are for sure.
You can find me under Annie Occasion, or Annie Occasion for Any Occasion, on Instagram, on Facebook. My website is annieoccasion.com. I'm on a few other sites too. I don't even pay attention. I think like wedding.com I was on, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that was a nightmare. So, but I'm on the usual. So yeah, check out my Instagram. I like taking pictures of my pretty flowers. So hopefully that makes somebody smile for the day. And you can also email me at annieoccasion.com.
Once again, I'm Ken Murphy with AMP Event Professionals behind me here. AmpEventProfessionals.com, at AMP Event Professionals on Instagram and Facebook as well. We do DJ services, photo booths, and uplighting, and a bunch of other things as well. And we really cater to our clients and really make it about them by really digging into kind of like Brad mentioned earlier, the stuff that he does with the love story and that kind of thing. And it's our goal to do happy tears at least once in a wedding, so that's what we really try to focus on. And we also have a walking photo booth too that's really unique too, so if you're interested in that, check that out. Once again, ampeventprofessionals.com. It's professionals with an S on the end. Go ahead, take it away, Tanya.
Hi, I'm Tanya Abraham. You can find me at www.hairdressingcouture.com on my website. I have a lot of galleries that you can look through, and also Instagram. You can follow me at Hairdressing Couture. On Facebook, you can find me on Tanya Abraham. I just love making people feel and look beautiful. I love giving them their unique look. Just to your doorstep, always to you, on your wedding day, making it that special, unique look that you most brides love, and bridesmaids and moms and all that fun stuff. I look forward to 2021 is one of the best years ever.
Yeah, and I'm Travis Heberling with Bella Tiamo. You can find us bellatiamo.com. We do photography, videography. Our main focus, especially the video, we bring the happy tears after the wedding every single time they watch it. So that's our goal. You can also find us on social media if you want my personal, which probably won't do you a lot of good unless you like looking at cats and food. That is at TRHEBERLANG, or TR in my last name. Or if you want just weddings, it's at Bella Photo Video. We're trying to kind of reuse stuff from last year since a lot's not happening this year, but we've actually put together some pretty cool montages, especially on like our YouTube. Like we just did sons dancing with their mom for the first time, like a little montage, where we have one coming out for Father's Day of dads seeing their daughter as a bride for the first time. So we've been just trying to find creative ways to kind of reuse what we had from the past few years, because we might be sharing a lot of new weddings this year, so might as well reshare all the awesome weddings we've had before. So and get those bride and grooms and their friends to have happy tears again. So awesome. I will include everyone's information in here too, just in case anyone needs to. And yeah, this was really cool. I think this was super helpful. I'm glad we did this. We had a few hiccups at the beginning, but I think it all came together well. We answered some questions, and I think this was super helpful for people. So, anytime there's a pandemic, we might have to do this again. So awesome. Well, it was great seeing everyone again, and until next time, bye everyone.
For sure. Thank you, Travis. Good day.
Thank you, Travis.